Hello and welcome to OPE or NOPE, the beloved and long-running show within a show where we dig deep into milestones of pop culture from the Midwest. I'm Peyton Whaley and we have a great double feature to get into, but before we do that, I would like to introduce my very special guests. From the IU Cinema is Michaela Owens, and from the IU Cinema podcast, Asia Essex. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing great. Michaela, how are you doing?
I'm all right. That's pretty much how I always answer.
So we have two movies of, I'd say, varying quality to get into.
You're being so kind.
You are being very diplomatic.
Before we do that, I want to start with both of y'all. I guess, Michaela, we could start with you. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I am it's a long title, Communications and Outreach Media Specialist at IU Cinema. So basically, communications and marketing. And we have a blog as well, Establishing Shot, that I write and Asia writes for also. And I edit that as well.
And Asia, tell me about yourself.
I am the podcast producer, host, and editor for the Indiana University Cinema. I also write for the blog. And then as far as other Indiana adjacent things that I do and Bloomington adjacent things I do, I help run Cicada Cinema, which is a pop-up cinema in Bloomington, Indiana, where we just try to bring movies that would have otherwise not played in Bloomington, Indiana.
And today, you're here to talk about movies I gave you for homework.
There's like good homework, and then
there's what I did to you.
And then there's, well, I won't lead too heavily. But.
Okay, we'll get there in time.
He's not in Italy. He's in Bloomington, Indiana.
Breaking Away is a 1979 coming-of-age film that harkens back to a time when guys could just bro out in their wet jeans on a limestone slab and stress about their plans for the future. Oh, and there's also like a bike race at the end or something. It's directed by Peter Yates and stars Dennis Christopher and Dennis Quaid, who apparently has never not looked 40. You might call this a time capsule of Bloomington in the past, which is a cute way of saying Bloomington's infrastructure hasn't been updated in 43 years. Overall, what did you think about Breaking Away, the 1978
79.
So what did y'all think about Breaking Away, the 1979, a year I have etched in my brain, classic?
I'm an editor. So this was my second time watching this. I like this movie a lot. I'm not a big sports movie person,
right?
But I am a big Dennis Quaid person, so A+ on that front.
This was the first time I'd watched this film despite having lived in Bloomington half of my natural life. I had somehow not avoided it on purpose. I just never gotten around to it. There'd been screenings. I didn't get to go to them, whatever. And I am a big fan of sports movies. And to me, this stands in the despite not being a fan of sports, but this to me stands in the pantheon of like my top 10 favorite sports movies. This was such a discovery for me.
Awesome.
Well, because it's not quite what you think it's going to be.
I would barely call it a sports movie.
We both watched it on Father's Day unintentionally. And not together, I should say.
No.
But it's a great movie for Father's Day.
I was gonna say the whole relationship and with the, I'm not great with character names right now, just because I've watched it for the first time.
We are going to skip right over character names.
Well, for all intents and purposes, I will call him a weeb, but for it's Italy.
Honestly.
That relationship between him and his father, while also a good Father's Day subplot, because it's like generational divide and like there's this whole theme about like these being the sons of people who actually were cutters, but they themselves not being able to actually do the thing that would actually give them some respectability in the community. But I also kind of like, just my reading of it, is that it's kind of also a like gay or queer allegory because it's about a father who doesn't understand like his son's proclivities and like how he's like changed and like evolved. Like even the tenor of the conversations are different, and also there's like the things of like him going into the bathroom and being shell shocked that he's just shaving his legs. Like to me that's like obviously not the intent, but it feels like very queer coded.
He's not queer, he's just Italian.
He's not queer, he's not queer, he's just Italian. Things they used to say about Roberto Benigni.
I'm in the same boat as Asia. I'd never seen this before. I've lived in Bloomington for the past like 4.5 years, and it was always one of those where people are like, you've seen that, right? And I just never got around to it. But this was such an easy breezy watch. I was honestly very surprised at how much the Little 500, the bicycle race that happens in Bloomington every year, was talked up to be like, oh, this is the Little 500 movie, but how small of a relative part that really played.
It literally becomes a plot point almost halfway through the movie. They're like, if you're gonna settle this, you should settle it at the race.
And they don't even think they're gonna do it.
Yeah, they
until
don't
like
even-
the last like 10, 15
yeah,
minutes.
the fact that the Italian weeb is a bicyclist is like, it's gonna lead to the Little 500
Right.
race, except for the race with the Italians where he has like his dreams crushed or whatever. Like it doesn't really I know, so brutal.
That's just
but
like,
then
oh,
also
geez.
like he is kind of annoying. I understand.
Oh my God. Yeah, get him Italian.
No, they shouldn't flip his bike over, like, shoving around.
That
in
was
it.
wild.
That was
Yeah,
wild. That's also
crazy.
a wild stunt because someone actually did that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just crazy to control that. But like, it's such an afterthought in the movie until the last part of the movie. But it kind of becomes this kind of like thrilling, tense part of the movie simply because they're doing so well at the beginning of this race.
Right.
And then you have like the second act of the race where it kind of almost becomes a comedy of errors. Yeah.
So it's these four friends that have like seemingly known each other forever. They're four townies, which they went with the term cutters, which was not popular, but the original word is like stonies or stoners, which
okay.
honestly iconic. But
But I think the script, which won the Oscar, I believe, is real. I think it's really good. There are some lines in there that are just like daggers to me. Like there's some. Didn't mean to hit my mic.
I mean, specifically the one that stuck out to me that I told you about after I watched the movie was the line about,
They're gonna keep calling us cutters. To them, it's just a dirty word. To me, it's just something else I never got a chance to be.
that's like working class poetry right there. It's like you could say that about any town where like an industry has like moved out and like the people there are like, despite being looked like being pillars of this community and like being the thing that will constantly be there, like everyone constantly just like looking down on them.
Right. There was also, I mean, weirdly funny. Did not expect
Yeah.
it to
It
like
is a very
it's
make me
really
laugh as
funny.
much as it did.
Like Daniel Stern is just
He's great. I
there
love Daniel
for pure
Stern.
comedy.
I'm like low key like one of Daniel Stern's biggest fans. Always happy when he shows up in a movie.
Did you know he was in this movie?
No. So this is the other thing. This movie is so poorly advertised because in Bloomington because people take it for granted. People really just talk about it as the Little Five movie.
The fun of it is seeing, for better or worse, how little Bloomington has changed.
Absolutely. Yeah, the whole time you're watching the movie, you're like, I know where that is. I know where that is. I walk there every day.
But it is also that weird thing of like, how is this not changed almost at all, structure-wise? Like, at all. Like, nothing is that different.
Because Bloomington is so intrinsic to this movie. Like, if you take it out,
It doesn't work.
it's not the movie.
No, it doesn't.
It's
There's
not.
a weird, lazy college town movie without the college town does not work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there could have been any number of shots where they're like, it just needs to be, cornfield, and we can just shoot that somewhere.
Yes, I mean it is that. It is that thing of just like everyone's perception of the Midwest, especially Indiana, that's just cornfields and flatness and like whatever. And like to an extent that is true. To an extent that is actually true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you get into these individual little towns or cities in Indiana, they each have their own distinct little character. Like Bloomington doesn't really look or feel anything like Terre Haute, which doesn't feel or look anything like Indianapolis.
For what it's worth, I did get a little chuckle out of Dennis Quaid being like, let's get out of this podunk town, let's go to Terre Haute.
I know.
So you're dreaming big, Dennis Quaid.
No insult to Terre Haute, it just made me chuckle.
Yeah.
A proud tradition that is carried on today, scamming college kids with used cars.
Absolutely. Oh,
Right?
so much. As someone who once got to be privy, like just kind of walking by a used car lot and watching someone get scammed in real time with a car that like I knew for a fact had been on that car lot for like 10 years and them saying like, yep, like just got here the other day and then like sat around and just watched them be like, are they actually about to buy this overpriced car? And then them actually buying it and then walking away like, wow.
And you did nothing.
I did nothing.
Before we wrap up with Breaking Away, I do want to talk a little bit about the Little 500 scene. What are your experiences with Little 500 as an event?
I stay away from it.
I do too.
I don't want any part of that.
I have never been to Little 500, the race, but in my undergrad, I went to Little 500 the week on Bloomington campus of just being.
You can't avoid it.
You can't avoid it. So even if you're trying to be good and you're not, like, you will inevitably stumble into some sort of Little 5 event.
I do want to give a big shout out to the team in the Little 500 scene that had a shirt that said Arby's.
Yes, I saw
The
that.
moment I saw them, I said,
Where
I'm
can I
not
get
rooting
me
for
one
the
of
Cutters
those?
anymore.
Team
I'm
Arby's.
rooting for Team Arby's.
Team Big Beef and Cheddar.
The way we do things, as everyone knows, we've done this forever. We give it an OPE or we give it a NOPE. OPE is a big thumbs up, NOPE is a big thumbs down. I think I know what you're going to say, but what do you give Breaking Away?
OPE.
I'm scooting past you at the grocery store and I'm giving you a big old ope.
It is a big OPE. It is OPEs across the board. Our second film for the day, maybe less so. We'll find out in a sec.
Maybe.
Maybe?
You might have heard about the prom in Indiana.
I just want to go to prom like any other kid.
All opposed.
One thing's universal, and that's if you ever want your guests to come back to your show, don't force them to watch the prom. When a high schooler is barred from her prom for wanting to bring her girlfriend, a group of fading Broadway stars descend on the fictional town of Edgewater, Indiana, for a PR stunt masquerading as activism. This movie is directed by Indiana native and Glee harbinger Ryan Murphy and stars Meryl Streep, James Corden, Nicole Kidman's pageboy cap, and many, many more. This film clocks in at a breezy 2 hours and 12 minutes. Asian Michaela, what did you think of the prom?
I thought, why did Peyton do this to us?
I thought, hey, all right, so some behind the scenes. Peyton emails originally, it was like, there's to be 3 movies, The Prom, Hoosiers, and Breaking Away. And we're like, great, we can't really probably discuss all 3 of those movies. What if we discuss 2 of them? Fully thinking that'd be like, you're right, Hoosiers and Breaking Away. This person decided to inflict us upon, so if you can guess, I was not the biggest fan of The Prom.
Yeah, it's a no from me, dog. It's just, yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you like what the songs are, what they sound. I can't remember them at all.
Why the heck did I make them watch this? So this is set in Indiana. It is not written, but is directed by Ryan Murphy of Glee, Nip Tuck, American Horror Story fame, lots of stuff for Netflix going on right now. He is an Indianapolis native. We are in his alma mater right now, so he has a lot of local ties to Indiana. I get the vibe from this that he hates Indiana.
Absolutely.
Really?
I actually got to agree with you. I think he kind of hates Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said about where Indiana stands on acceptance and where Indiana stands on politics, but nobody was really given the kind of depth that you think would be interesting to watch. It was very one note across the board for people. The only person, Keegan-Michael Key, who plays the principal, he's not a raging bigot, but then he also has a whole song sung in an Applebee's about how amazing theater is
Yes.
and how life-changing it was for him. And I just found the whole thing to just be kind of off-putting.
I like earnest movies, trust me. I had a good time when we showed Speed Racer at the IU Cinema. I had a great time. But this is just cheesy in a bad Lifetime movie way.
Yes. It's cheesy once for someone who is not sincere, who is trying to be sincere. I mean, I think a element of a lot of Ryan Murphy's work, in my opinion, is that there is a kind of this like above it all-ness
Very
to
cynical.
it. Yeah, like very cynical. But it's like, well, if you're trying to make the earnest musical about the little gay girl in her high school and like gay rights in the Midwest and things like that, you kind of have to come at it a place with like empathy. I'm gonna say one of my 3 nice things. There are 2.
We will count them down.
There are 2 songs and set pieces of this movie I legitimately enjoy, and one of them is like, do I count it because it's just aping something? One is the Love Thy Neighbor song.
Yes.
While it is like this whole like gospel pastiche, which is like a little overplayed, it's like in the mall, whatever. It's like, it does kind of follow that rule of like, if you can't say it, sing it. It actually does follow that rule. And it is the one song where the hook does get actually stuck in my head.
Okay.
And he's like giving it his all. Like, there's like a lot of like great choreography. And the other one, do I count it? It's just a Fosse ripoff. It's Nicole Kidman's number. And it's like, why is it good? Because it's just Fosse.
Question for the room. What is Zaz?
Give it some zazz.
You know, it certainly got my attention.
Give it some zazz.
I wish I could say the same thing about Love Thy Neighbor, but to me it felt like owning the bigots with facts and logic. It was a lot of very like surface level writing and like.
Oh, let me put it this way. I don't think it's a well-written song. I think it's a well-produced song.
But it changed 4 students' minds.
All right, can we get to the elephant? Can we get to James Corden?
We can get to James
room?
Corden. Tell me about James Corden.
You're so deflated.
Corden himself is not a gay man.
Nope.
Plays what feels like a rejected Will and Grace character.
Yes.
My brand is a little tarnished at the moment.
Because of the infamous tirade at the Longacre Theater.
Offensive in a way that like won't keep me up at night, but like offensive in a way where it's like, it's technically not your fault because why would someone cast you in this role?
It was the voice that threw me so hard. I was like, there was absolutely no reason to do this voice.
It's one thing to have a British actor do an American accent, and you know, it's not great. But then on top of that, to go with a very ill-advised lisp is a choice, we'll say. This film was not well received.
I'm shocked.
But the musical was. The musical premiered in 2018 on Broadway, and a lot of the creative team behind the musical were on this as writers and producers. It was nominated for 7 Tonys, I believe. But I'm curious, you know, I have not seen the stage production.
Yeah.
I'm curious kind of where that disconnect comes in.
Contemporary modern musicals have had this incredibly rough patch of like translating from stage to screen. And some of that has to just do with the innateness of each medium. Like you're willing to forgive a lot in theater because you're filling in the gaps.
Right.
Like your brain is literally filling in the gaps that you are not actually seeing on stage. Film is such a literal medium that I wonder if all of its blemishes just get amplified like 1,000-fold when you have to literalize everything.
Yeah, maybe, because I remember when the musical first was on Broadway, hearing about it. And so you're expecting, this is awful, you're expecting the songs and the choreography to be better.
Yeah.
And they just were not there. That choreography was not good. It was not memorable. The songs, again, not memorable. It's just, I don't understand why it was hit on Broadway, to be honest.
I love a movie musical.
Yes, me too.
My expectations are high. I want it to blow me away. I want it to be big and bombastic and sincere. None of this really blew me away. None of it was too exciting. Although I did remember the not 1 but 2 dubstep dance drops.
Yeah, that.
I'm not sure if we have time for this, but Meryl Streep rapping over the credits.
Gotta wear your crown or your tiara.
Because we talked so much about Bloomington with Breaking Away, this is by all measures the opposite of that.
Yes.
So none of this was shot in Indiana. It was mostly shot in California. The one filming location not in California, are you ready for this? It's Massachusetts, because that's where the stock footage of the exterior of the Applebee's was shot.
Oh my
They talk about it being this small hick town, and then I see that hotel that they're in, and I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
that hotel has
That's not a Hampton.
like a fountain or something. The mall, that was an incredible mall. That is not an Indiana mall. That our Indiana malls are sad and vacant.
It's honestly the opposite of what we enjoyed about Breaking Away. There is no sense of specificity to this. They could have just saved themselves the trouble and just have at least based it off of a real town in Indiana or a real city in Indiana.
We're running long on time, so I want to wrap up. There's so much more.
No, it's okay.
This is a movie I kind of love to hate. Although it's not one I would ever sit down and make somebody else watch like I have forced onto you.
There's not enough like good cringe in it for it to be like a thing where you're like, you have to watch this train wreck. It's not like Dear Evan Hansen or Cats or anything like that.
Although it does have a Dear Evan Hansen moment where she posts her song on YouTube, and you get all these superimposed shots of like, she's really reaching me, and like, it was what's in the Dear Evan Hansen movie. It's like, this kid's best friend died. You won't believe.
What happens next.
Maybe the Zaz thing.
Zaz.
For a movie that has so much of Indiana on its face value, you don't get any of that. Don't get any of that. So with that being said, OPE or NOPE, what are we feeling?
What if I said OPE?
After all that, something about it.
It's just, it intrigues me.
Leaves me wanting more. I mean, look, it's a nope for me.
Yes.
It is a touch of zazz and a whole lot of nope.
Zazz.
As we start to wrap up, is there anything that y'all are working on that you want to plug?
I mean, at the cinema, we have the blog, which we all work really hard on, so would love to plug that.
There is the podcast, the IU Cinema podcast, which will have a new name coming up soon and be formatted differently. It's all under construction.
And right now, the cinema's dark because we're doing some internal updates and getting a new screen and all sorts of fun things.
Yes.
But we will be back in the fall semester.
If you live in Bloomington or Southern Indiana and you want to see some unique cinema, come to a Cicada Cinema screening. You can find it on cicadacinema.com. We partner with the IU Cinema quite often in other Indiana orgs and things like that.
So I will have links to all the stuff they're working on down below. Go check that out. A big thank you to Asia and Michaela for joining me today. If you enjoyed whatever this was, be sure to leave a like and comment, especially if there's something else that maybe you want us to come back and cover in a future episode. And be sure to subscribe to the Flyover Culture channel so you don't miss new episodes. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time.
Give it some zazz.